Sydney siders, you may have been lucky enough to see this car on your streets, but the rest of Australia probably hasn't. It's the Cupra Born. There have been a couple of evaluation vehicles doing the rounds in Sydney, but for the rest of Australia, you'll have to wait until March 2023 when this car officially goes on sale. But Cupra Australia has this example here for us to take an early look. There's a couple of details we already know. Pricing will kick off from $59,990 plus on roads, and there'll be different driveway pricing for each state. It will come with a 511 kilometre range from a 77 kilowatt hour battery with 170 kilowatts and 310 Newton meters. It's a lot to unpack, I know. So we're going to jump behind the wheel and tell you more. Before I jump behind the wheel, let's have a look at how the Cupra Born will be positioned in Australia. Cupra is launching the car in Australia with a $59,990 price before on-road costs. And the brand is making a big deal that both the price and the range start with a 5. In real terms, this means the just shy of 60 grand Born boasts a lower entry price than the Polestar 2, Nissan Leaf E+, and the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive. Of that trio, the Model 3's 491 kilometre range is the longest, while the Leaf's 385 kilometres is the shortest. The Cupra Born also holds the title of the first electric vehicle for the non-prestige brands in the Volkswagen Group stable in Australia, after premium electric offerings from Audi and Porsche, but ahead of Volkswagen and Skoda branded electric cars locally. The Cupra Born will come in a single powertrain specification, with the largest available battery offered in overseas markets. The 77 kilowatt hour usable battery is paired with a 170 kilowatt, 310 Newton meter single electric motor driving the rear wheels. With Cupra's performance-oriented brand positioning, the Born will be marketed in Australia as a hot hatch and claims a 0 to 100 km/h acceleration time of 7 seconds. Not bad, but behind the sprint times of traditional hot hatches like the Golf GTI at 6.3 seconds, the Cupra Leon VZ with a 6.4 second claim, and the Hyundai i30N Automatic and its rapid 5.4 second time. Standard features include sequel interior trim, a fabric woven from yarn composed of recycled ocean plastics, along with dual zone climate control, keyless entry and start, user configurable ambient interior lighting, LED headlights and taillights, and 19-inch alloy wheels. Screens inside the Born encompass a 5.3-inch digital driver display, plus a large 12-inch infotainment display with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus digital radio. 2 available options packages will be offered, and both reduce the Born's seating capacity from 5 to 4 occupants. The $2,900 interior package adds 12-way power adjustment for the front seats, front seat heating and massage functions, and suede look front seat trim with a 9-speaker premium Beats audio system. The $2,600 performance package replaces the Born's 19-inch black and copper wheels with 20-inch black and silver wheels, shot in wider 235mm Michelin Pilot Sport tyres. The performance pack also adds dynamic chassis control, but the changes to wheels and tyres impact projected range with just a 475 kilometre claim. While the focus of today's drive has definitely been out there for the track experience, I just wanted to jump in and show you a couple of quick things inside the Cupra Born. Now, again, a Volkswagen Group product, so you might think you know what you're getting with this car, but in some ways you are and in some ways you aren't. There's a few things like hard plastics on the door that you might not expect, but by the same time, there's a really nice kind of soft pad in front of the driver on the dash. There's some cool textures. You get the Cupra copper on things like the steering wheel and the dash vents. There's no gear shifter, so there's a giant storage section here, and this car that I'm sitting in is an engineering evaluation vehicle, so it's got a bit of extra equipment strapped into it, but I'll cut away to some of the bits that you'll actually see in the production car. The digital display ahead of the driver isn't one of the 10.25 or 12.3 inch Volkswagen Group widescreen displays. It's actually a lot smaller, but it still packs in a similar amount of information. And instead of a key or a push button start, you've got drive modes on the steering wheel. And if you put your foot on the brake, put it in drive, the car is ready to go. You don't actually need to start the car. It's ready to run straight away. Other than that, the seating position, probably not super low. This, while it claims to be a hot hatch, has batteries under the floor, so you do set up a little bit higher. But the thing that I reckon a lot of people are really going to like compared to a normal low to the ground hot hatch is this: the huge amount of headroom that you get, plus excellent visibility out and all around, which is something that not every hot hatch in the class can deliver. All right, first and foremost, let's talk about the Cupra Born the way that Cupra wants to talk about it, as a hot hatch. Does it actually stack up? Does it live up to that claim? Well, it's interesting. It is a rear-wheel drive car, and it is, let's call it, the only rear-wheel drive hot hatch available in Australia at the moment. You could, of course, get rear-wheel drive BMW 1 Series before, but those cars have now moved to front or all-wheel drive platforms. This is a rear-wheel drive chassis, and it feels like a rear-wheel drive chassis. Now, the conditions that we're testing in today are definitely not the ultimate test conditions that you would ask for. It's been raining on and off all day, Haunted Hills is very wet, and as I've discovered, it's very slippery. So this thing will step its bum out. The stability control in cars equipped with the performance package have basically 3 settings. There's on, sport, and off. You can completely disable them. But that said, you can actually still get a little bit of fun out of this with everything just set to fun police mode. It doesn't pull you back or stop early, which some stability control systems do. But does that make it a hot hatch? Well, it makes it fun, and it certainly keeps you on your toes as you're driving around. Does it deliver a punch in the back though? Well, with 170 kilowatts and 310 Newton meters, the Cupra Born's outputs are what I would consider a little bit conservative. We're now in an era where hot hatches are 200 kilowatt plus cars. 350, 400 Newton meters, pretty easy to come by. Even Volkswagen's own Golf and the Leon Cupra put out more power and more torque. So does this thing deliver a punch in the back? Well, as soon as I have a straight section, I'll show you what it does. And if you expect a kick down or a thump or anything of that nature, this might not be where you find it. So it's deceptively swift because it's silent, but if I punch it here, you get a swell of acceleration. You don't get a oomph, you don't get a great pushback in the seat. So some of that hot hatch hotness is a little bit lacking. That's not to say that this is a bad car though, it's actually not, it's really quite good. The steering is light, but light in a way that actually feels really connected and really feelsome. It's not over assisted, it is just kind of, let's call it light-footed, in that, you know, you're not fighting against the car, and it is letting you know what the conditions are like underneath the wheels. You can tell where grip starts sliding away, and you get a real sense for the conditions underneath. Now, again, I'm saying all of this in the isolation of a racetrack, right? This isn't the real world. There's no speed humps, there's no potholes, there's just nicely finished surfaces. So things like how it rides and how it deals with a spray of loose gravel and some potholes will all have to wait until we can get this car on the road. We'll have a much more in-depth review of this car when it lands in the real world, when it goes on sale officially. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Drive YouTube channel and click the notification bell so that you don't miss out on a single bit of the action, be that regarding Cupra or any other car launching in the Australian market. Anyway, back to this thing. 310 Newton meters of torque is probably why you don't get that big punch in the back. That's not a huge amount of torque, and we know that electric cars can generate some pretty formidable power. But on balance, this car delivers range that is far, far more, I think, acceptable to Australian consumers. Cupra's official claim is 511 kilometres from a full charge. and that's pretty decent, and it makes it the only car that you can buy in Australia right now with a 5 in the price and a 5 in the range claim. So it's $59,990 plus on-road costs and a 511 kilometre range claim. The other thing that you can get with this car is a pair of options packs. There's an interior pack to dress up, obviously, the interior with nicer seating and premium sound, and there's a performance pack. Key part of that is 20-inch wheels, and if you opt for those, you get a 475 kilometre range, so a bit of an impact there. They also come with sticky Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyres, which the car that I'm driving on now doesn't have those. It has 19-inch wheels, but earlier, again, in the wet and in these conditions, on the 20s, it's probably hard to really pick the difference. And I think in the dry, when you can sort of fire in and out of corners with a bit more intent, you would probably notice where those 20-inch wheels and the Michelin Pilot Sport rubber are more effective. It's probably also worth noting that as a dedicated electric vehicle platform built on the Volkswagen Group's MEB modular chassis architecture, this car maybe doesn't quite feel like a hot hatch in the way that you sit in it. The seat is quite tall, and there's like extra windows between the door and the A-pillar, and it's got a real almost people mover feel from where I'm sitting, but that high up seating position and not having your bum low to the ground doesn't make it feel like a hot hatch. It does make it feel perhaps more like a hot SUV, and I realise that the world likes SUVs, and hot SUVs are probably the next big thing, so that might not be a problem. But if you're getting in this car expecting that it's going to feel just like a Volkswagen Golf GTI or just like a Cupra Leon, then you may be a little bit disappointed. This doesn't feel like one of those, but that said, there are so many familiar elements to this car that it's not going to feel alien. This isn't a science experiment. This is definitely a member of its family. The other Cupra cars have the same sort of interior basics, same steering wheel, similar but a little bit different controls, same infotainment system. So if you're jumping from one car to the next in a Cupra showroom, you'll definitely feel that familiarity. Well, the weather hasn't been a ton of fun today, but the Cupra Born has. Now, this is only a quick look. We will have much more to tell you come March 2023 when this car goes on sale and we can get behind the wheel on public roads. But for now, if you'd like to find out more, be sure to head to Drive.com.au for a written review on this car and plenty others. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.